My life has changed since I moved to Australia. I landed in Sydney on August 31st, 2023, at 7:05 a.m. 8 months before that, I wrote out a New Year's manifestations list. I wrote that I would move to Australia in September 2023. Like most things I did in my life at that time, eager and overprepared, I arrived to Australia a day early. Before Australia, I was living in Brooklyn, New York. I had been living in New York for 4 years. For 3 of those years, I had been living in an apartment in Manhattan designed to be a studio, with fake walls put up to fit myself and 2 other women I met on Facebook. When I turned 26, I decided it was time for me to upgrade to a real bedroom, which I could get in another borough for $400 more a month. I was paying $1,700 per month for the biggest room and a private balcony in a 3-bedroom apartment, because I thought I deserved it. It was also the only room I could find that I could afford when my lease was up. I was working in entertainment marketing. I created social media content for TV shows. I was going to rooftop happy hours, having late nights out with coworkers, being promised a future at the company that employed me, and getting a taste of how the entertainment industry worked, an industry I was obsessed with. I was depressed. I was working from home 5 days a week, secluded in my bedroom. I cried before and after meetings. I took naps during my lunch break, and not because I could out of freedom of having a remote job, but because I couldn't stay awake. I've heard before that dreams can change. Mine had to when I couldn't get a job in my desired field. I quickly became the demographic of journalism graduates I always feared I could become. Because I chose the dream of living in a big city over my job title, which I stand by, and I'm so happy that I chose that route. But I didn't get the job that I imagined I could have as a child or a high school student or a college student. I wasn't working for National Geographic or W Magazine, and I was nowhere near that. I gave up on working my way up the chain in that field because I couldn't afford to. I fell into a social media job that could pay my rent. That became my only professional experience. So I worked my way into an entertainment social media company and interned at documentary production studios to get as close to one of my dream jobs as I could. I measure the dreams I have had by what school I was attending at the time, because that's where dreams are born in America. If you work hard here, you will get to the next place. And if you work hard there, you will be rewarded in the place after that. And if you work hard there, you will be able to feed yourself and pay your rent. And if you work hard there, you will be able to own property and have a family. If you do this, you will get that in the future. So I did what everybody else my age in America does, and I tried to monetize my passions so that I could feel my passions were adding value to my life. And that is exhausting. I was exhausted. When I was packing up my Brooklyn apartment, I had 1 roll of film left to develop. It was a week before my big move when I finally brought it into a local photography shop near my parents' home, and was sad to learn that I would not receive the photos before I took off for Australia. A few months passed and I still had not seen them. By the time my mom picked them up, I didn't remember what was on that roll. A few more months passed and I received the files. A lot of people in Australia asked me what living in New York was like, what growing up in America was like. How scary is the gun violence actually? Is New York how it is in the movies? Did you really eat lunch at a cafeteria in school? Do people really like Donald Trump? I look back now and sum that experience up, sum my entire life up, in a way that would be different if I didn't have perspective from the other side of the world. If I was no longer rationalizing the conditions that I was living in to keep going. When I saw this roll of film, I smiled because this is my life in America. This was my life in New York for a period of time. Going to my favorite museums alone. Joining a book club of other female professionals in the city. Doing things like that to make me feel like I was doing something. Meeting my friends at our favorite bars. Drinking tequila and Irish coffees and meeting strangers, making up stories because we would never see them again. Because New York is full of infinite strangers. Decorating my first bedroom as an adult. watching strangers walk by from my balcony, ordering fast food at 3 a.m. on DoorDash after a night out, picking out an outfit for an event, attempting to make pizza dough for the first time, and inviting my sister over to try it because after 3 years in New York City, I finally had an oven, stretching on my yoga mat during the workday to calm my breath, collecting glasses of various drinks on my desk to keep me awake during meetings, cleaning up the mess I made over periods of time of living, finding dust underneath my dresser that seemed to be growing larger in recent years, feeling gratitude for being able to pay for such a beautiful space. I felt I was looking at years of hard work being paid off every day, wondering how no matter how many times I cleaned our bathroom, it never seemed clean. Road tripping with friends, entertaining family when they visit. When I got hired at my agency job, it was one of the best days of my life. I felt my job description finally matched my years of experience and talent. It was not where I expected to end up, but dreams change. I thought, okay, this can be my life now. I can move to the top of this ladder. I had this thought from the time I was in high school that I had to become the best at whatever I decided to do. I had to become a known name. I had to prove my talent held a high value to other people. I think this is an American mindset, a New York mindset. I think it's something people should talk about more. When I got to Australia, I was surprised to find how much people had hobbies just based on enjoyment. I am a privileged person, and I don't like to capture that part of my life as completely negative, because the lows also match the highs. I had enough money to support myself. I had only the responsibilities I created for myself, but I felt dissatisfied with my quality of life, and it was a period of time that triggered my move to the other side of the world. I had reached a point of success that I laid out for myself once. But by the time I got there, what I was striving for in life had changed. I look at these photos and think of how much I have changed since I moved to Australia, how I measure success, what makes me happy, what I want for my future. All of that is different now because of how my life is now. My hair is shorter because it gets knotty when I swim in the ocean. I don't wear as much makeup, not because I don't want to, but because the humidity will make my face sweat it all off. In New York, I dressed up in any style I wanted. In Australia, my style adapts to fit the nature I'm surrounded by. Both ways of life are beautiful, they're just different. I go swimming when I need to cool my body temperature down. I don't hold my breath when I'm walking down the street out of anxiousness. I have money left over after my living expenses and saving to buy clothes and travel without feeling guilt. I am creative when I feel creative. I have more hobbies. I don't try to sell my passions. I smile at strangers instead of ignoring them. I enjoy working, for the most part. I'm less territorial over my personal space. I have outlets to explore moments of unhappiness or anxiety. I'm less afraid to do adventurous things. I don't feel I need to spend money to feel serotonin. I can picture a future of stability. I can picture owning a home one day and having children because I'm in a place where stability looks like what I want it to look like. My dreams possibly changing doesn't stress me out. When I look at these photos, I feel happiness because I feel I am for certain looking at the past. A period of my life is cemented in time, documented. And knowing that that time has passed makes me love it.